Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on clause-by-clause analysis on GSTAT rules. So as we promised, we will be having a clause-by-clause analysis on this rules, which has been notified a couple of days back. So here we are. And since these are all, it's almost 124 rules, we'll not be able to have it in one session. So we'll break it down into a couple of sessions and part by part. And we'll have it a few chapters in one day and one session, and a few chapters in different sessions as such. So let's get started. Now, before we proceed, that we should know that what cases will move to the appellate tribunal. What kind of cases? So, as you all know, the GST Appellate Tribunal cases comes from the adjudication of the departmental proceedings. The first is show cause notice will be issued. Either it could be a detailed order or a special order, along with summary order in DRC 7. So, and then there will be show cause notice proceedings, and then there'll be a adjudication. And based on that adjudication, you will again go to the cases moves to the either to Deputy Commissioner Appeals, or Joint Commissioner Appeals, or Additional Commissioner Appeals, or to the Commissioner Appeals. And based on the orders of the first appellate authority, the case then moves to the tribunal, which is the second appeals. So which is under 112 of the GST Act, CGST Act. So now, does it end there here at the second appeals tribunal? No. After the after the decision of the tribunal, the aggrieved party will either move to High Court and then Supreme Court. So which cases moves to High Court or Supreme Court? The cases which has substantial question of law, or sometimes if there is a violation of principles of natural justice, so an aggrieved party can directly move to High Court without coming either through a writ, instead of going through the departmental appeals and to the tribunal. So this is the way in which the cases moves to the litigation case. Now, next is under what provisions is this GST Appellate Tribunal rules have been notified and other things. So is it only 124 sections which I told? Is it the only thing? The answer is no. We have in the GST Act, we have section 109 to 116, which talks about the GST Appellate Tribunal's provisions, along with the GST rules, which is also related to the tribunal, this one, which is 110 to 114, Rule 110 to 114. So Rule 109 to 116 is, which is also related to GST Appellate Tribunal rules, and we will not be confined only to, because GSTAT rules alone we cannot discuss in silo. So hence we will be discussing about this as well. So under what rules this and what provision this GSTAT rules has been notified? So the answer for that is the 111, the procedure before the appellate tribunal. So now let's move on to this one. So as I said, GST procedure rules has been notified under on 24th April, a couple of days back. So what does it say? The notification says, in exercise of the powers conferred by section 111 of the CGST Act, the GST Tribunal, that is GST Appellate Tribunal, hereby makes the following rules. So it means that GST Appellate Tribunal itself is making these rules, and the rules have been issued by the tribunal and not by central government or anybody else, or the same, or by the council. Of course, from where does it derive its power? It derives its power, as I said, it's from section 111 of the CGST Act. So as you know that the tribunal is already established. I mean, the establishment of tribunal is in September 2023 in the notified, and you also know that the president of the appellate tribunal has also been appointed and notified. And now we have, last week we have this rules also which has been notified. So now the portal was also functioning. Now it has a little bit of glitch, and it will be up actually. And now a couple of features are not available. It may be available in a couple of days or weeks. Let's see. So now let's see 111. What does 111 say? So section 111, which empowers the GST tribunal to have its own rules, it says that the appellate tribunal shall not, while disposing of any proceedings before it or an appeal before it, be bound by the procedures laid down in CPC, but shall be guided by the principle of natural justice and subject to other provisions of this Act and the rules made thereunder. The tribunal shall have power to regulate its own procedure. So what does it say? So the tribunal shall not be bound by the CPC rules while in the case of the proceedings, appeal proceedings. So, whereas, however, it has been empowered to have its own rules and regulations subject to other provisions of the Act. So hence, based on this, the tribunal has issued rules, there has framed the rules, and now it has been notified last week. So now, what are those rules which has been issued or notified by the tribunal itself? Is from rule 1. As I told you, it's from rule 1 to rule 124. So 124 rules are there, divided into 15 chapters, and in each of these chapters we have, in preliminary you have 2 rules, and 15 next is to 15 rules, 20 rules, and all those things. All in all, it is 124 rules are there. So we will be discussing, as I promised, it will be clause by clause discussion and analysis of each of these rules. However, since chapter 1 is only 2 rules, and chapter 2 is 15 rules and all those things, we will just club a few rules, few chapters, and make it as one session instead of having all the sessions in one go, or having one session for each chapter. So that will be too short, and having all sessions in one shot, it will be too long. So we'll just try to manage. So this is about that.